There's something haunting about the ruins of an ancient temple. The way the stones seem to hum with secrets, the way the shadows stretch like fingers pointing to forgotten truths. These aren't just relics of art or religion, they're time capsules of something far more extraordinary. Hidden within their walls, buried in their precise alignments and cryptic carvings, lies evidence of scientific knowledge so advanced, it challenges everything we think we know about the past. Imagine standing in the heart of a structure built thousands of years ago, where the walls themselves seem to pulse with energy, where the stars above align perfectly with doorways meant for gods, or perhaps for something even more mysterious. What if these temples weren't just places of worship, but carefully designed machines, harnessing forces we're only beginning to understand? From the astronomical precision of Egypt's Great Pyramid to the strange acoustic properties of Malta's Hypogeum, these sites defy simple explanation. How did civilizations without modern tools achieve such feats of engineering? Why did they encode complex mathematical equations into their sacred spaces? The answers might lie in sciences lost to time, sciences that could rewrite history as we know it. This isn't just a journey into the past, it's a search for knowledge that could illuminate our future. What if the key to unlocking new energy sources, or even understanding the universe's hidden patterns, has been waiting in these ancient stones all along? Together, we'll explore the evidence, decode the symbols, and piece together the puzzle of these forgotten sciences. By the end, you might never look at history or the future the same way again. So let's step into the shadows of these sacred sites and uncover the secrets they've guarded for millennia. The truth is closer than you think. When we think of ancient temples, we often picture priests chanting, offerings burning, and worshippers kneeling, but what if that's only half the story? These structures weren't just spiritual hubs, they were masterpieces of ingenuity, where science and sacred ritual intertwined in ways we're still unraveling. Take the Temple of Karnak in Egypt, for example. Its towering columns aren't just grand for grandeur sake, they're aligned so precisely with the solstice sunrise that even today, sunlight pierces the inner sanctum like a laser beam, illuminating carvings hidden in darkness the rest of the year. This wasn't accidental artistry, it was celestial engineering. Then there's Chichen Itza, where the Mayans built El Castillo as a giant stone calendar. During the equinoxes, shadows slither down the pyramid steps like a serpent, a visual representation of their god Kukulkan descending to earth. But this spectacle wasn't just theater, it was a precise astronomical marker, proving they could track seasons with astonishing accuracy centuries before modern telescopes. How did they achieve this without blueprints or computers? The answer might lie in their temple's very foundations. Some researchers believe these sites were chosen for their unique geological properties, sitting atop natural energy currents or magnetic anomalies. And what about the mysterious hum heard in certain chambers, like the oracle room at Malta's Hypogeum? Speak softly there, and your voice resonates at a frequency that vibrates through your bones, a phenomenon modern acousticians struggle to replicate. Was this intentional? Could these spaces have been designed as vibrational laboratories where sound waves were harnessed for healing or even communication? The more we study these structures, the clearer it becomes. Ancient builders weren't just stacking stones, they were encoding knowledge into architecture, merging physics with faith in a language we're only starting to decipher. Perhaps the most compelling clue lies in the numbers. From the golden ratio in Greek temples to pi encoded in the Great Pyramid's dimensions, these sacred spaces are littered with mathematical Easter eggs. Were they leaving breadcrumbs for future generations, or were these formulas the secret tools behind their seemingly impossible feats? One thing's certain, when you walk through these ruins, you're not just stepping into a place of worship. You're stepping into a classroom where the walls themselves whisper lessons from a science we've yet to fully rediscover. The Great Pyramid of Giza doesn't just dominate the desert skyline, it defies logic. Every aspect of its construction whispers of knowledge that shouldn't have existed 4,500 years ago. Take its alignment. The pyramid's base is squared with true north with an error margin of just 1/15 of a degree. To put that in perspective, even modern architects using satellite technology would find that level of precision challenging. But here's what's truly baffling. The builders achieved this without compasses, without GPS, without any tool we've ever found evidence of. Then there are the pyramid's mysterious shafts. Two narrow corridors extend from the king's chamber, one pointing directly toward Orion's belt, the other toward the pole star Thuban, a star that held the position of the north celestial pole during the pyramid's construction. This wasn't random stargazing, it was deliberate celestial mapping. Some researchers suggest these shafts functioned as a sort of astronomical clock or even a spiritual gateway, aligning with stars at specific times to channel energy or mark sacred events. But the real jaw-dropper is the mathematics hidden in plain sight. The ratio of the pyramid's perimeter to its height equals 2 times pi, a mathematical constant the ancient Egyptians supposedly didn't know. Yet there it is, etched into stone. Even more astonishing, the pyramid's dimensions mirror the proportions of the northern hemisphere, a scale model of Earth itself. Coincidence? Unlikely. These weren't just builders stacking blocks, they were master mathematicians weaving cosmic truths into architecture. So how did they do it? Mainstream archaeology points to simple tools and brute labor, but that doesn't explain the precision. Alternative theories suggest lost technologies, perhaps advanced surveying instruments or even sonic levitation techniques hinted at in obscure texts. Whatever their methods, one thing's clear: the Great Pyramid stands as a silent testament to a science far beyond what history books teach. It's not just a tomb, it's a meticulously crafted message across millennia, daring us to decode its secrets. Clap your hands at the base of El Castillo in Chichen Itza, and something extraordinary happens. The sound doesn't just echo, it transforms. The stone steps throw back a sharp, metallic chirp, like the cry of the sacred Quetzal bird, a creature revered by the Maya as a messenger between worlds. This isn't some quirk of architecture, it's a meticulously engineered acoustic marvel. Every step, every angle of the pyramid's facade was calculated to create this otherworldly effect. But why? What purpose could such a precise sonic phenomenon serve in an ancient temple? The answer might lie in the Mayas' deep connection between sound and the sacred. In their cosmology, vibrations weren't just noise, they were bridges to the divine. Modern researchers have found that certain frequencies, like those produced by the chirping echo, can alter brainwave patterns, inducing states of heightened awareness or even trance. Imagine priests clapping their hands during ceremonies, the pyramid itself amplifying their rituals with unearthly sounds that seem to summon the spirit world. Or perhaps these acoustic properties served a more practical purpose, a form of long-distance communication. In the dense jungles of the Yucatan, where visibility was limited, sound could travel far clearer than sight. A single clap might have relayed messages across vast distances, a Stone Age satellite system hidden in plain sight. What's even more astonishing is the precision required to achieve this effect. The steps aren't just randomly spaced, they're tuned. Each one acts like a sonic filter, canceling out some frequencies while amplifying others, a feat that would challenge even today's acoustic engineers. How did the Maya, without oscilloscopes or computer models, understand these principles? Some scholars point to their advanced knowledge of mathematics and harmonics, suggesting they might have used water vibrations or string lengths to test sound waves. Others speculate that this wisdom came from observing natural echo chambers like caves or canyons and replicating their properties in stone, but Chichen Itza isn't alone. Across Central America, other pyramids exhibit similar acoustic tricks. At Tikal, whispers at the base of Temple 1 can be heard clearly atop Temple 2, hundreds of feet away. At Palenque, the Temple of the Inscriptions hums with a low-frequency resonance that seems to vibrate through the body. These aren't isolated quirks, they're proof of a widespread, sophisticated understanding of sound science. The Maya didn't just build temples, they built instruments, massive lithic symphonies designed to interact with the human voice, the elements, and possibly even the cosmos itself. So the next time you hear about the mysteries of ancient civilizations, remember, what we call magic might just be science we haven't fully unraveled yet. The chirping echoes of Chichen Itza aren't ghosts of the past. They're fingerprints of a forgotten mastery, waiting for us to listen closely enough to understand. High in the Andes, where the air thins and the past feels hauntingly close, the Temple of the Sun at Ollante Tambo stands as a riddle carved in rose-colored stone. Unlike any ordinary ruin, this sacred site hums with something you can't see but might just feel. A strange, tangible energy that lingers in the air like static before a storm. Visitors often describe unexplained sensations near its walls, a tingling in their fingertips, a sudden warmth against the mountain chill, or even fleeting dizziness, as if the ground beneath them holds a hidden pulse. Scientists armed with modern instruments have detected unusual electromagnetic fluctuations here, spikes in energy that defy easy explanation. What's more baffling? These anomalies aren't random, they cluster around specific stones, as if the builders knew exactly where to place them to harness some invisible force. Look closer at the temple's construction, and the mystery deepens. The massive stones fit together with such precision that not even a razor blade can slide between them, a feat seen in other ancient sites. But here there's a twist. The rocks aren't just perfectly cut, they're made of andesite, a volcanic stone rich in quartz. Modern research shows that quartz crystals can generate piezoelectric effects, producing electrical charges under pressure. Could the temple's architects have intentionally chosen this material, arranging the stones to amplify Earth's natural energy fields? Some researchers believe the entire structure functions like a giant battery, channeling telluric currents, the same subtle energies that dowsers claim to detect with rods. Then there's the temple's alignment. Like a compass needle, it points unerringly toward the winter solstice sunrise, bathing its altar in golden light on the shortest day of the year. But solstice alignments aren't uncommon. What sets Ollante Tambo apart is how this celestial event seems to intensify the site's strange energy. Visitors and researchers alike report stronger sensations during these alignments, as if the stones are charging up under the sun's rays. Local legends speak of the temple as a place where shamans once communed with the gods, drawing power from the earth and sky. Were these rituals more than myth? Could the temple's designers have engineered a space where geology, astronomy, and human perception converge to create something extraordinary? The most compelling clue might lie in the temple's unfinished state. Massive monoliths, some weighing over 50 tons, sit abandoned in nearby quarries, as if the builders vanished mid-project. But what if they weren't interrupted? What if they were waiting? Some theorists suggest the temple was designed to work in concert with other sites across the sacred valley, forming a network of energy nodes. modern geomagnetic surveys reveal ley lines, invisible pathways of concentrated earth energy connecting Ollante Tambo to Machu Picchu and other sacred spots. Ancient cultures worldwide revered such lines, calling them dragon paths or spirit roads. Did the Inca inherit even older knowledge of these forces, embedding it into their architecture? One thing's certain, standing in the shadow of the Temple of the Sun, you're not just surrounded by history, you're standing inside a carefully crafted instrument, one that might still be humming with a forgotten science. Whether it's the quartz in the stones, the precision of the alignments, or something even more elusive, this temple challenges us to rethink what ancient builders truly understood about the invisible forces that weave through our world. Angkor doesn't just dominate the Cambodian jungle, it maps the heavens. At first glance, this sprawling temple complex appears to be a monument to gods and kings, its towers stretching toward the sky like stone lotus blossoms. But look closer and you'll discover something astonishing. The entire layout mirrors the constellation Draco, the celestial dragon, with its central towers perfectly aligned to match the star's positions during the spring equinox in the year 10,050. This isn't just symbolic decoration, it's a precise, intentional celestial blueprint carved into the earth. The temple's architects didn't stop at alignment. Every corridor, every gallery, every staircase seems to hum with mathematical harmony. The complex is built on a grid of precise measurements, where the ratio of its outer walls to inner courtyards reflects the sacred geometry of Hindu cosmology. Even more striking are the bas-reliefs that adorn its walls, intricate carvings showing not just mythological scenes, but what some researchers believe are advanced astronomical concepts. One panel depicts a churning of the Milky Ocean, a Hindu creation myth, but the arrangement of figures and spirals matches the precession of the equinoxes, a 26,000-year cycle that ancient astronomers supposedly couldn't calculate. Yet here it is, etched in stone centuries before modern science confirmed it. Then there's the temple's relationship with time itself. Ankerwatt functions as a giant sundial, its shadows marking solstices and equinoxes with uncanny accuracy. During the winter solstice, sunlight pierces through specific doorways to illuminate hidden carvings, while the summer solstice casts shadows that align with the temple's outermost gates. This level of precision suggests the builders didn't just observe the stars, they predicted their movements, encoding celestial mechanics into architecture. How did they achieve this without telescopes or written records? Some scholars point to the temple's water features, vast reflecting pools that may have served as primitive observatories, allowing priests to track stars mirrored on their surfaces. But the real enigma lies underground. Recent LiDAR scans have revealed an extensive network of canals and reservoirs beneath the complex, arranged in patterns that mirror the temple's celestial alignments. These weren't just for irrigation, they may have functioned as a hydraulic calendar, with water levels rising and falling to mark seasonal changes. Imagine a civilization so attuned to nature's rhythms that they built a machine of stone and water to measure time itself. What does this mean for our understanding of history? Ankerwatt challenges the assumption that advanced astronomy and mathematics were born in the laboratories of Renaissance Europe or the observatories of the Islamic Golden Age. Here, in the heart of Southeast Asia, a civilization thrived with knowledge so sophisticated, it blurred the line between science and spirituality. The temple isn't just a relic, it's a testament to a forgotten way of seeing the universe, one where the cosmos and the earth were threads in the same grand design. Standing in its shadow, you can't help but wonder, if they understood this much, what else did they know? Legends whisper across time of stones that defied gravity, massive blocks gliding into place as if weightless, guided by nothing more than sound. From the Tibetan monks who supposedly floated stones with trumpets to the Egyptian priests said to move obelisks with chanting, these stories persist in cultures separated by oceans and millennia. What if these weren't just myths, but glimpses of a lost science? Modern researchers are beginning to uncover startling evidence that sound-specifically precise vibrational frequencies might have been the secret behind some of history's most baffling construction feats. Take the Coral Castle in Florida, built single-handedly by Edward Leeds in the early 20th century. He claimed to have rediscovered the ancient secret of the pyramids, using harmonic resonance to lift massive limestone blocks, some weighing over 20 tons. Witnesses reported hearing him sing to the stones as they seemed to move effortlessly, a technique echoing those described in much older texts. Experiments today show that certain frequencies can reduce friction or even create anti-gravity effects under specific conditions. When sound waves match an object's natural resonant frequency, the vibrations can cause it to become temporarily weightless or easier to manipulate. Could ancient builders have harnessed this principle? The clues might lie in the very materials they used. Many megalithic sites, from Baalbek to Sacsayhuaman, feature stones with high quartz content, a mineral known to vibrate at consistent frequencies when subjected to pressure or sound. Some researchers suggest that by striking these stones with tuned hammers or vibrating them with drums or chanting, builders might have induced a state called acoustic levitation, allowing massive blocks to be positioned with astonishing precision. Even today, scientists use ultrasonic levitation to suspend small objects in mid-air. Scale that technology up and suddenly, the stories of floating stones don't seem so far-fetched. Then there's the mystery of the Moai statues on Easter Island. How did a civilization without wheels or draft animals transport these 80-ton giants across miles of rugged terrain? Oral traditions speak of the statues walking to their platforms, guided by priests who chanted or tapped rhythmically. Modern experiments demonstrate that rocking a heavy object side to side in a controlled manner, a technique called walking, can move it forward with surprising efficiency when combined with vibration. Add resonant sound into the equation, and the legends start to sound less like folklore and more like forgotten engineering manuals. But perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from the pyramids themselves. The Grand Gallery inside the Great Pyramid isn't just a passageway, it's a massive sound chamber. Calculations show its corbelled walls and precise angles could amplify specific frequencies, creating standing waves powerful enough to affect objects placed at certain points. Ancient texts describe rituals involving chanting and harmonic instruments in these spaces, hinting at a purposeful fusion of acoustics and architecture. Were these galleries designed not just for ceremony, but as tools for manipulating matter? The implications are staggering. If ancient cultures truly understood how to harness vibrational physics, it rewrites the narrative of human innovation. This wasn't magic, it was applied science, a mastery of natural forces that were only now beginning to rediscover. From the humming stones of Stonehenge to the sonic chambers of Chavindohuanta, the evidence suggests a global thread of knowledge woven into the very foundations of our oldest monuments. The next time you see a megalithic wonder, ask yourself, did brute force build this, or was it something far more extraordinary? The answer might not be carved in stone, but vibrating just beneath the surface. Descending into Malta's Hypogeum feels less like entering a burial site and more like stepping inside a giant instrument. This labyrinth of underground chambers, carved from solid limestone over 5,000 years ago, holds a secret modern science is only beginning to grasp. Certain rooms resonate at precise frequencies that seem to affect the human body in extraordinary ways. The most famous of these is the oracle chamber, where a deep male voice speaking at 110 Hz creates vibrations that ripple through the stone, humming against your skin like an invisible force. Researchers measuring these spaces have found something astonishing. This exact frequency has been shown in modern studies to stimulate the brain's frontal cortex, reducing stress and even enhancing creative thinking. But why would ancient builders design a space with such specific acoustic properties? The answer might lie in the Hypogeum's sister sites above ground. Malta's megalithic temples, like Hypogeum and Mnajdra, also feature chambers that amplify particular frequencies, often in the range between 90 and 120 Hz, a bandwidth modern sound therapists call the sacred frequency range. Studies at Stanford and other institutions have found these vibrations can reduce cortisol levels, ease muscle tension, and even alter brainwave patterns, shifting listeners into meditative states. Were these temples not just places of worship but ancient healing centers? The Hypogeum's design suggests an intentional mastery of sound. Its walls aren't smooth, they're carefully corrugated with ridges and niches that scatter sound waves in precise patterns. In the so-called Holy of Holies, a small niche emits a powerful standing wave when certain tones are sung, creating a sensation of pressure that seems to lift the weight from your chest. Local folklore speaks of priests using these chambers to speak with the gods, but what if the gods were the frequencies themselves? Modern practitioners of cymatics, the study of visible sound, have shown how specific vibrations can organize matter into intricate geometric patterns. Ancient cultures might have observed this phenomenon in sand or water, recognizing sound's power to shape both the physical and the spiritual. Even more intriguing are the reports of spontaneous healings. Visitors and researchers alike describe unexplained recoveries from chronic pain or insomnia after spending time in certain chambers. While skeptics dismiss these as placebo effects, the sheer consistency of the accounts is hard to ignore. Could the Hypogeum's architects have understood something we're only rediscovering, that sound, when harnessed correctly, can be a tool for transformation? From Tibetan singing bowls to modern vibroacoustic therapy, the idea of healing through vibration is gaining scientific traction. Perhaps these ancient builders weren't just carving tombs, they were engineering resonance chambers, crafting spaces where the very air vibrated with the frequency of renewal. Standing in the Hypogeum's dim glow, you're left with a haunting question. If they could orchestrate sound with such precision, what other secrets of the ancient world still hum beneath our feet, waiting to be heard? In the quiet hours of a moonlit night, something extraordinary happens at certain ancient temples across India. Their stones begin to glow with an eerie, soft light, as if absorbing the moon's silver radiance and radiating it back to the heavens. This isn't some trick of the light or modern restoration. These temples were built centuries ago with stones deliberately embedded with luminescent minerals. The Brihadiswara temple in Tamil Nadu is one such marvel. When moonlight strikes its towering Vimana, the granite facade emits a faint but unmistakable glow, a phenomenon witnessed by pilgrims and researchers alike. What makes this even more fascinating is the precision behind the effect. The luminous stones aren't randomly placed, they're strategically positioned along pathways, doorways, and sacred symbols, almost like a celestial map painted in light. Laboratory analysis of these stones reveals traces of photoluminescent materials, including certain rare earth elements that absorb and re-emit light over time. The question isn't just how ancient builders sourced these minerals, but why they went to such lengths to incorporate them. Were these glowing pathways meant to guide nighttime worshippers, or did they serve a deeper, symbolic purpose? Some researchers point to ancient texts like the Agamas, Hindu scriptures detailing temple construction, which speak of Jyotirlingas, pillars of light, and the importance of capturing celestial energies in stone. Could this knowledge have extended to an understanding of photoluminescence? The Ramanatha Swami temple's corridor, lined with stones that glow faintly blue under moonlight, suggests an intentional fusion of geology and sacred geometry. Even more intriguing are accounts from medieval travelers describing rituals where priests would charge certain stones with sunlight during the day, only for them to emit light hours later during ceremonies. But the real mystery lies in the mineral mixtures themselves. Modern attempts to replicate these effects have stumbled. Whatever combination of materials the builders used, it wasn't just crushed glow in the dark rock. The luminescence lasts far longer than typical photoluminescent substances, and the color spectrum is unusually consistent. Some theorize the stones were treated with organic compounds or subjected to heat processes that altered their crystalline structure, techniques that would require sophisticated knowledge of chemistry. Perhaps most compelling is the global echo of this phenomenon. From the faintly glowing jade used in Mayan temples to the luminescent paint fragments found in Egyptian tombs, it seems multiple ancient cultures independently discovered ways to make stone hold light. Was this mere coincidence or evidence of a shared, lost science? Standing in the moon-washed courtyard of an Indian temple, watching the stones pulse like captured starlight, one thing is clear: our ancestors saw light not just as illumination, but as something sacred to be woven into the very fabric of their sacred spaces. Hidden deep in Jordan's desert cliffs, the rose-red city of Petra holds a secret more precious than its famous treasury: water. In a land where rainfall averages just 6 inches a year, the Nabateans didn't just survive, they thrived, turning their city into an oasis with an engineering marvel that would impress modern hydrologists. Their secret, a network of channels, cisterns, and dams so precise, it could collect and distribute every drop of water that touched the valley. While other desert civilizations struggled with scarcity, Petra's fountains flowed, its gardens bloomed, and its population swelled to tens of thousands, all thanks to stone-cut aqueducts hidden in plain sight. Walk through the Sikh Petra's narrow entrance canyon, and you'll notice shallow grooves carved into the rock walls. These aren't erosion marks, they're the remains of an ancient water highway. The Nabateans transformed this natural gorge into a massive rainwater catchment system, channeling flash floods through ceramic pipes and filtration basins that removed silt before the water reached storage tanks. But here's what's truly astonishing: the entire system operated on gravity alone, with gradients calculated so precisely that water flowed steadily without pumps or mechanical aids. Modern engineers using laser levels have confirmed the slope varies by less than 1 degree across miles of channels, a feat requiring mathematical knowledge far beyond what textbooks claim ancient desert traders possessed. The real genius lies in how they harnessed the desert's harshness. Instead of fighting flash floods, the Nabateans tamed them with diversion dams that redirected destructive torrents into reservoirs. Their most impressive structure, the Wadi Mataha Dam, features a spillway designed to break away under extreme pressure, sacrificing part of the system to save the city, an ancient fail-safe mechanism. Even more clever were their underground cisterns, lined with waterproof plaster and positioned to minimize evaporation. Some could hold over 500,000 gallons, ensuring water security through years of drought. Perhaps the most puzzling aspect is how they located water in the first place. Petra sits atop fractures in the sandstone where groundwater naturally collects, but finding these sweet spots without modern technology would have required an intimate understanding of geology. Some researchers believe the Nabateans used observational techniques passed down through generations, like tracking certain plants or rock discoloration. Others point to their sophisticated knowledge of condensation. Morning dew would collect on strategically placed stones, dripping into channels below. This wasn't just engineering, it was a dialogue with the desert, a mastery of microclimates we're only now beginning to decode. What makes Petra's water system truly extraordinary isn't just its complexity, but its longevity. These channels functioned flawlessly for centuries, outlasting empires that rose and fell around them. When Roman engineers later attempted to replicate the system in other desert outposts, their versions often failed within decades. The Nabateans built for permanence, carving their solutions not just into stone, but into the very rhythm of the landscape. Standing beside one of their intact cisterns, you can almost hear the echo of rushing water, a testament to a civilization that didn't conquer the desert, but conspired with it to create something miraculous. Edward Leedskalnin's Coral Castle rises from the Florida limestone like a puzzle carved in stone, a sprawling complex of megalithic sculptures and towering walls, all built by one man working alone under the cover of night. The most baffling part, each block weighs tons, some as much as 30, yet Leedskalnin, a frail 5-foot-tall immigrant from Latvia, moved them without machinery or helpers. When asked how he managed such impossible feats, he'd simply smile and say he'd rediscovered the secret of the pyramids. But what if his coy answer wasn't just a metaphor? What if he'd truly stumbled upon an ancient science of manipulating weight and stone? The clues lie in the details. Coral Castle's most iconic feature, the 9-ton gate, once rotated with such perfect balance that a child could push it open, yet engineers couldn't replicate its precision even with modern tools. Leedskalnin claimed to have harnessed Earth's natural magnetism, and strange as it sounds, there's evidence to support this. Visitors often reported seeing him place small metal objects near the stones, which he'd then adjust until the blocks seemed to lose resistance. Some researchers believe he was creating localized magnetic fields, using principles similar to those in modern maglev trains. Experiments with pulsed electromagnetic fields have shown temporary reductions in an object's apparent weight, a phenomenon called magnetic levitation. Could Leedskalnin have amplified this effect using the coral rock's high mineral content? Then there's the matter of sound. Neighbors recalled hearing him sing or hum while working, and his writings are filled with cryptic references to perpetual motion holders and vibrations. Modern physics confirms that certain resonant frequencies can reduce friction or even counteract gravity at microscopic scales. Combine that with the castle's coral blocks rich in calcium carbonate crystals, which vibrate predictably under sound waves, and suddenly, the idea of singing stones into place doesn't seem so far-fetched. But the most compelling evidence might be the tools he left behind. Among his makeshift devices was a strange tripod with chains and a black box, now lost to time. Sketches suggest it functioned as a harmonic oscillator, possibly tuning into Earth's natural frequencies. Even more intriguing are his notebooks, filled with diagrams of celestial alignments and references to North and South Pole magnets, hinting at a deeper understanding of geomagnetic forces. Leedskalnin's story forces us to reconsider what ancient builders might have known. If a lone man in the 1900s could move megaliths using forgotten principles, who's to say the pyramid architects didn't wield similar knowledge? Coral Castle stands as a living experiment, its stones whispering that the boundary between myth and science might be thinner than we think. The real question isn't whether Leedskalnin unlocked an ancient secret, it's how many other secrets still lie buried, waiting for someone to listen. Beneath the Great Pyramid's shadow, where tourists tread and cameras flash, lies a world far older and more enigmatic, a sprawling network of tunnels, chambers, and submerged passageways that defy conventional explanation. While the pyramids themselves capture the world's imagination, their hidden underground counterpart might hold the real keys to understanding these ancient marvels. Explorers and archaeologists have mapped over 5 miles of subterranean corridors beneath the Giza Plateau, some so narrow they require crawling, others wide enough to drive a car through. But here's what's truly startling. Many of these tunnels predate the pyramids themselves, carved into the bedrock by a civilization lost to time. One of the most tantalizing discoveries is the so-called Osiris Shaft, a vertical chamber descending nearly 100 feet beneath the plateau. At its base lies a series of water-filled rooms, their walls lined with precision-cut granite, a material so hard, modern diamond-tipped tools struggle to replicate the work. Even more puzzling are the salt deposits found in these chambers, suggesting they were once flooded with seawater or mineral-rich springs. Why would ancient builders go to such lengths to create underwater rooms beneath a desert? Some researchers point to texts like the pyramid texts, which speak of the pharaoh's soul navigating subterranean waters to reach the afterlife. Others propose a more practical purpose. These flooded chambers might have been part of a massive hydraulic system, using water pressure to power unknown mechanisms or even stabilize the pyramid above. Then there's the recently discovered void deep within the Great Pyramid itself. In 2017, advanced muon tomography, a type of cosmic ray imaging, revealed a hidden chamber nearly 100 feet long, untouched for millennia. Its purpose remains a mystery, but its alignment matches the pyramid's upper passages, suggesting it wasn't just an architectural accident. Could this space hold artifacts, records, or even technology from a forgotten age? Theories range from a hidden burial chamber to a resonant cavity designed to amplify acoustic or electromagnetic energy. What's undeniable is that the pyramid's builders went to extraordinary lengths to conceal it, sealing it behind layers of stone with no apparent entrance. But the most provocative clues lie in the accounts of early explorers. In the 19th century, British archaeologist Colonel Howard Vyse described finding metallic artifacts in the pyramid's shafts, small, finely crafted objects that resembled tools or instruments. These artifacts vanished soon after their discovery, leaving only sketches behind. Even earlier, Arab chroniclers wrote of strange mechanical devices hidden beneath Giza, including automated doors and speaking statues that emitted sounds when wind passed through them. While these accounts are often dismissed as legend, they echo a recurring theme across ancient sites: the fusion of stone and something akin to technology. Modern expeditions continue to uncover surprises. Ground-penetrating radar has revealed anomalous structures beneath the Sphinx's pores, while sonar scans suggest vast, water-filled caverns stretching toward the Nile. Some researchers believe these tunnels form a colossal underground network, connecting Giza to other sacred sites across Egypt. The implications are staggering. If these passageways were designed as more than tombs or storage spaces, what were they truly meant to house? Energy conduits, ancient data storage, or perhaps something even more extraordinary, a physical blueprint of cosmic knowledge, waiting beneath the sand for the right moment to be understood. One thing is certain: the pyramids were never meant to stand alone. Their grandeur was just the visible tip of an iceberg, with roots plunging deep into the earth and deep into mysteries we've only begun to unravel. Every new discovery beneath Giza whispers the same question: what other secrets lie buried, not just in stone, but in the very bones of our planet? Standing in the center of Stonehenge at dawn on the summer solstice, you don't just witness sunrise, you become part of an ancient celestial dance. As the first golden sliver of sun breaks the horizon, it aligns perfectly with the heel stone, casting a long, narrow beam that slices through the monument's heart like a laser. This isn't random poetry in stone. It's precision engineering on a scale that defies its 5,000-year-old origins. While most know Stonehenge as a solar calendar, its true genius lies in the layers of complexity hidden beneath its weathered surface. Consider the bluestones, the smaller, mysterious rocks transported over 150 miles from Wales. Unlike the local sarsen stones, these volcanic rocks have a peculiar property. They emit low-frequency sound waves when struck, creating vibrations that resonate through the body. Modern experiments show these frequencies can alter brainwave patterns, inducing trance-like states. Coupled with the monument's precise alignment to lunar standstills, rare events where the moon pauses at its extreme positions in the sky, it suggests Stonehenge wasn't just marking time. It may have been a resonant chamber designed to synchronize human consciousness with cosmic cycles. Then there's the enigma of its electromagnetic anomalies. Recent studies reveal that the monument sits atop intersecting ley lines, with certain stones concentrating Earth's magnetic fields. Visitors often report strange sensations, tingling skin, sudden temperature shifts, or even fleeting visions near these energy hotspots. Geophysicists have measured unusual spikes in electromagnetic activity during solstices, as if the stones act as conductors for invisible forces. Could the builders have intentionally harnessed these energies, turning Stonehenge into a kind of prehistoric power plant? The most tantalizing clues come from its lesser-known alignments. While the solstices draw crowds, few realize the monument also tracks lunar eclipses. The station stones, 4 markers forming a perfect rectangle, map the moon's 18.6-year cycle with eerie accuracy. Even more startling, computer reconstructions show that when viewed from the center during a major lunar standstill, the moon appears to roll along the horizon between these stones, as if guided by an invisible hand. This level of astronomical sophistication shouldn't exist in a society without writing or advanced mathematics. Some researchers propose an even more radical theory, that Stonehenge's concentric rings and radiating alignments mimic sacred geometry found in crop circles and ancient energy grids. The famous avenue, a processional path leading to the monument, aligns not just with the solstice sunrise but with the constellation Draco, the same celestial dragon mirrored at Ankerwatt. These parallels hint at a lost global science, where sacred sites weren't just places of worship but nodes in a vast, interconnected system. Standing among these silent sentinels of stone, you're left with an unsettling thought. If our ancestors could map the heavens, manipulate sound, and harness Earth's energies with nothing but stone and intuition, what else did they know that history forgot? Stonehenge doesn't just challenge our timeline of human progress, it whispers of a wisdom so profound, we're only beginning to hear its echo. Buried for 12,000 years beneath the dust of southeastern Turkey, Gerbeckly Teep doesn't just rewrite history, it shatters it. This sprawling complex of stone circles, carved with exquisite precision, predates Stonehenge by 6 millennia and the pyramids by 7. But what's truly baffling isn't just its age, it's the deliberate care with which it was hidden. Around 8000 BC, someone went to extraordinary lengths to bury the entire site under thousands of tons of soil, preserving it like a time capsule meant for future eyes. Why? The answer might lie in the temple's haunting carvings, a menagerie of beasts and symbols that whisper of knowledge lost to time. Walk among the T-shaped pillars, and you'll find them adorned with foxes, scorpions, vultures, and serpents, not randomly etched but arranged in deliberate sequences. Some researchers believe these aren't mere decorations, but a sophisticated symbolic language. The vultures, for instance, often appear with outstretched wings cradling circular objects. In later Sumerian art, similar motifs represent celestial bodies, suggesting Gerbeckly Teep's carvers might have been mapping the heavens. Even more intriguing are the abstract symbols, crescent shapes resembling lunar phases, zigzags that mirror ancient water signs, and repetitive chevron patterns found at sacred sites worldwide. Could these be fragments of a universal prehistoric code? Then there's the mystery of Pillar 43, dubbed the Vulture Stone. Its surface is a crowded tableau of creatures, but one section stands out, a scorpion positioned beneath a cluster of dots that precisely mirrors the constellation Scorpius as it appeared around 10,900 BC. The odds of this being coincidence are astronomically low. Archaeoastronomers have identified similar star maps on other pillars, suggesting the builders didn't just watch the skies, they recorded celestial events with startling accuracy. This wasn't primitive stargazing. It was a formalized system of astronomy millennia before historians thought such knowledge existed. But the real shock comes when you realize what was happening elsewhere on Earth during Gerbeckly Teep's construction. While its builders were raising megaliths and tracking constellations, most of humanity was still living as hunter-gatherers without permanent settlements or agriculture. The conventional timeline says complex society emerged after farming, but here's a monumental temple predating farming by 3,000 years. This flips the script entirely. What if religion and science came first, driving the invention of agriculture to support these sacred sites? The most chilling clue might be the site's final act. Around the time global temperatures suddenly spiked during the Younger Dryas period, Gerbeckly Teep was carefully interred. Some theorists suggest its burial was a protective measure, a way to preserve sacred knowledge against impending cataclysm. Others point to evidence that the temple's alignment shifted over centuries, as if tracking a wobble in Earth's axis caused by some ancient catastrophe. The pillars themselves tell a story of disruption. Later carvings grow cruder, as if knowledge was being lost even as they built. Standing in the shadow of these pillars, you're left with an unsettling thought. What if Gerbeckly Teep isn't the beginning of civilization, but the remnant of something far older? Its builders didn't just bury stones, they buried a warning, a message, or perhaps a gift. As we slowly decipher their symbols, we're not just uncovering our past, we're being handed the keys to a forgotten world, one that knew far more than we ever imagined. The legend of Damascus steel reads like a metallurgical fairy tale, swords so sharp they could split a hair lengthwise, so strong they shattered lesser blades, yet flexible enough to bend without breaking. For centuries, warriors and kings prized these weapons above all others, their surfaces rippling with watery patterns that seemed to flow like liquid metal. Then, mysteriously, the knowledge to create them vanished. By the 18th century, the secret was lost, or so we thought. What if the techniques that forged these legendary blades weren't just the work of skilled blacksmiths, but fragments of a far older science, one that temple builders might have known? Take a closer look at that distinctive pattern. Modern analysis reveals Damascus steel isn't just iron and carbon. It contains trace elements like vanadium and tungsten, along with nanowires of cementite, a crystalline structure that shouldn't exist in medieval metallurgy. The closest parallel, ancient Indian wood steel, produced in crucibles at temperatures exceeding 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, a process requiring knowledge of alloy ratios and cooling rates that shouldn't have been possible without precise instruments. Yet temple artifacts from across Asia show evidence of similar advanced metallurgy. In the jungles of Cambodia, rust-resistant iron pillars at Angkor have stood untouched by corrosion for 900 years, their surfaces bearing cryptic inscriptions about the breath of the furnace god. Could these be clues to a forgotten science of sacred metals? The real mystery lies in how these techniques were lost. Some historians blame the collapse of trade routes, others the secrecy of guilds. But there's a more intriguing possibility, that the full process required more than just physical skill. Ancient texts from Persia and India speak of blades being sung into strength, of smiths chanting specific frequencies while quenching steel in special liquids. Modern experiments show that vibrational stress during cooling can indeed align molecular structures in ways that enhance durability. Were these rituals more than superstition? The same temples that resonate with acoustic perfection often contain metallurgical workshops like the underground forges beneath Egypt's Temple of Hathor, where residue tests reveal alloys matching Damascus steel's composition. Perhaps the most tantalizing clue comes from a discovery in Sri Lanka. Beneath the ruins of a 3rd century BC temple, archaeologists found clay tablets detailing a process called the Dance of the Seven Fires, a step-by-step guide to forging metal using alternating heats and magnetic stones. When researchers attempted to recreate the method, they produced a blade with uncanny similarities to Damascus steel, complete with its signature wavy patterns. The catch: the instructions referenced aligning the forge with certain stars and waiting for the moon's pull to be just so. Dismissed as poetic flourishes, these celestial timings might hold the key. Lunar gravity affects liquid metal flow, and specific constellations' positions correlate with seasonal humidity levels critical to the steel's crystalline formation. This wasn't just craftsmanship, it was alchemy, a fusion of astronomy, chemistry, and physics encoded in ritual. The same temples that tracked solstices might have doubled as metallurgical laboratories, their alignments serving as calendars for perfect forging conditions. If so, Damascus steel wasn't lost. Its secrets were hidden in plain sight, etched into stone walls and star charts, waiting for us to read them not as myths but as manuals. The next time you see an ancient blade gleaming in a museum case, remember, it's not just a weapon, it's a testament to a science that turned metal into magic and a challenge to uncover what other wonders our ancestors might have left behind. Chartres Cathedral rises from the French countryside like a hymn carved in stone, a masterpiece of Gothic architecture that seems to hum with hidden meaning. Step inside and your gaze is immediately drawn upward to the vaulted ceilings, where ribs of stone intersect in perfect symmetry, but the real magic lies beneath your feet. The cathedral's labyrinth, a winding path inlaid into the floor, isn't just a decorative puzzle, it's a geometric cipher. Walk its 11 concentric circles, and you're tracing a path that mirrors the moon's 18.6-year cycle, a celestial dance encoded in stone. What's even more astonishing is how the entire building aligns with the heavens. During the summer solstice, sunlight streams through the south transept's stained glass, casting a beam that illuminates a specific flagstone near the labyrinth center. This isn't random artistry, it's celestial engineering on a scale that rivals modern observatories. The cathedral's architects didn't just build a place of worship, they constructed a three-dimensional star chart where every pillar, every arch, and every window corresponds to cosmic patterns. Take the famous Blue Virgin window. At first glance, it's a stunning depiction of Mary, but look closer. The glass's unique cobalt hue comes from a precise mixture of minerals, including cobalt oxide, a compound medieval alchemists believed could transform base metals into gold. Even more intriguing, the window's geometric tracery forms a series of interlocking hexagrams, a pattern found in sacred geometry across cultures, from Solomon's seal to the flower of life. Was this just decorative flair, or were the cathedral's builders embedding universal principles into their craft? Then there's the mystery of the cathedral's proportions. Measure the nave's width against its height, and you'll find the golden ratio 1.618, the same mathematical constant that shapes seashells and galaxies. The rose windows aren't randomly placed. Their diameters follow the Fibonacci sequence, a numerical pattern found throughout nature. Even the cathedral's floor plan forms a cross whose arms align not just with the four cardinal directions, but with ley lines, invisible energy channels ancient cultures believed connected sacred sites. But the most tantalizing clue lies in the cathedral's construction records, or rather, the lack thereof. Unlike other medieval projects, Chartres has no surviving blueprints or mason's notes. Historians have long assumed they were lost to time, but what if they were never meant to be written down? Some scholars suggest the cathedral's design was passed orally, a sacred secret guarded by the Knights Templar who funded its construction. Their symbol, the double square, appears throughout the building, a geometric key that might unlock deeper layers of meaning. Standing in the cathedral's dim light, watching the kaleidoscope of stained glass paint the stones with shifting colors, you're left with a haunting question. Was Chartres built to house worshippers or to preserve something far older, a science of sacred geometry that bridges earth and sky? The stones themselves seem to whisper that true understanding lies not in the grand arches, but in the silent spaces between them. The lighthouse of Alexandria didn't just guide ships, it defied the limits of ancient engineering. Towering over 400 feet above the Mediterranean coast, its legendary beam could reportedly be seen from 30 miles away, cutting through the night like a modern searchlight. Historians have long debated how this marvel of the ancient world achieved such brilliance, especially when the technology of the time suggests simple oil lamps or wood fires shouldn't have produced light visible beyond the horizon. The answer might lie in a forgotten innovation, one that fused fire, glass, and geometry into a spectacle that bordered on magic. Ancient texts describe the lighthouse's beacon as unquenchable, its glow intensified by a massive polished mirror, possibly made of bronze or silver. But mirrors alone couldn't explain the lighthouse's range. Recent experiments suggest the mirror might have been part of a larger optical system, a parabolic reflector designed to focus scattered light into a concentrated beam. The same principle powers modern lighthouses today, yet the Alexandrians seemingly mastered it 2,000 years ago. Even more intriguing are accounts from Arab travelers who claimed the mirror could magnify distant images, allowing observers to spot ships long before they reached port. Was this the world's first functioning telescope, hidden in plain sight atop a lighthouse? The secret might also lie in the fuel. Byzantine manuscripts mention a mysterious, burning stone used in the lighthouse's furnace, a substance that produced an unusually intense, steady flame. Some scholars speculate this could have been naphtha, a volatile petroleum derivative known to ancient Mesopotamians, or even early forms of quicklime, which burns brilliantly when exposed to water. Combine this with the mirror's focusing power, and you'd have a beam capable of piercing the darkest nights. But here's the twist: the lighthouse's design may have harnessed more than just fire and mirrors. Its position on the island of Pharos wasn't arbitrary. The site was chosen for its unique interaction with the sea and wind. The tower's hollow interior likely functioned as a giant wind tunnel, channeling coastal breezes to stoke the furnace naturally, while its spiral ramp system allowed fuel to be transported upward efficiently. This wasn't just a tower with a flame, it was a precision instrument, every element working in harmony to amplify light beyond what should have been possible. The most tantalizing clue comes from an unlikely source: shipwrecks. Divers exploring Alexandria's harbor have recovered glass fragments near the lighthouse's ruins, not ordinary glass, but thick, curved lenses. While mainstream archaeology dismisses them as decorative pieces, their shape suggests they could have been part of a compound optical device. Pair these with the legendary mirror, and suddenly the stories of the lighthouse projecting light take on new meaning. What makes the Pharaoh's lighthouse truly extraordinary isn't just its engineering, it's the lingering question of who designed it. The architect, Sostratus of Cnidus, left no blueprints, only cryptic inscriptions hinting at knowledge borrowed from even older civilizations. Perhaps the lighthouse wasn't just a triumph of Greek engineering, but the last flickering beacon of a far older science, one that understood light not just as a tool, but as a force to be sculpted. Today, as modern lasers trace patterns across the night sky, we're still catching up to an idea that once burned bright on the shores of Alexandria. Beneath the fairy tale rock formations of Cappadocia lies a world few could imagine, an underground empire stretching hundreds of feet into the earth, with entire cities carved from volcanic stone. These aren't simple caves, they're meticulously planned metropolises, complete with stables, wineries, churches, and even ventilation shafts so advanced they maintain perfect air circulation thousands of years after their construction. The sheer scale is staggering. In Kuyu, the deepest known complex, plunges 18 levels down with space for 20,000 people. But here's what truly baffles archaeologists. These subterranean labyrinths weren't just dug for shelter. Their design reveals a sophistication that suggests their builders understood principles of geology, hydraulics, and even climatology that shouldn't have existed in antiquity. Take the ventilation system alone. Shafts up to 180 feet deep connect to the surface at precise intervals, creating a natural airflow that prevents carbon dioxide buildup while maintaining a constant 60-degree temperature year-round, a feat modern engineers would struggle to replicate without computers. Even more impressive are the water wells, some descending over 200 feet to underground rivers, with filtration systems using porous volcanic rock to purify water naturally. But the real mystery lies in the rolling stone doors, massive circular slabs weighing up to half a ton, yet balanced so perfectly a child could slide them shut. These weren't just defenses, they were pressure regulators, sealing off sections to control airflow like bulkheads in a submarine. Why go to such extremes? Conventional history says these cities were refuges from invaders, but that doesn't explain their astronomical alignments. Certain tunnels in Geomagnetic point directly to the summer solstice sunrise, while others align with the pole star as it appeared 3,000 years ago. Some researchers propose an even more radical theory, that these complexes were ancient observatories, using the Earth itself to shield against atmospheric interference for stargazing. The volcanic rock's magnetic properties might have amplified this effect. Recent scans reveal anomalies in certain chambers where compass needles spin wildly, suggesting concentrated magnetic fields. The most haunting clue comes from the artwork. Among the usual Christian iconography are strange symbols, spirals matching celestial maps, zigzags identical to those in Gerbeckly Teep, and geometric patterns that resonate at specific sound frequencies. In one chamber, when you hum at 111 Hz, a frequency known to alter brain activity, the walls themselves seem to hum back, amplifying the vibration. Were these cities designed as more than hideouts? Could they have been sacred spaces for rituals harnessing the Earth's energy, or even shelters against some long-forgotten cataclysm? Standing in the cool darkness of Derinkuyu's deepest level, you're left with a chilling thought. We've only uncovered a fraction of these tunnels. Satellite imagery suggests hundreds more undiscovered complexes spiderweb beneath Cappadocia, some possibly older than recorded history. Whatever their purpose, one thing is clear: whoever built them didn't just dig holes in the ground. They engineered a subterranean masterpiece, a testament to a science that thrived in the shadows, waiting for us to uncover its secrets. From the air, Peru's Nazca Desert looks like a colossal sketchbook left open under the sun, a sprawling canvas etched with hundreds of giant geoglyphs, some stretching over 1,000 feet across the barren landscape. These aren't just random scratches in the earth. The hummingbird, the spider, the mysterious humanoid figure known as the astronaut. Each design is a precise, intricate masterpiece, visible only from high above. But here's what's truly mind-bending. These lines don't just depict animals and shapes, they map the heavens. Take the famous monkey glyph, its spiraled tail mirroring the constellation Ursa Major as it appeared 2,000 years ago. Or the tree, whose branches align with the Milky Way during the winter solstice. Researchers using advanced star mapping software have found that over 30 major geoglyphs correlate with specific celestial bodies, their positions locked into the desert floor like a giant astronomical clock. This isn't coincidence. The Nazca people didn't just gaze at the stars, they plotted them onto the earth with jaw-dropping precision, using techniques we're only beginning to comprehend. How did they achieve such accuracy without flight or modern tools? The answer might lie in their simple yet brilliant surveying methods. By driving stakes into the ground and measuring shadows at different times of day, they could plot complex geometries across vast distances. But the real mystery isn't just how they drew the lines, it's why. Some theorists suggest these were ritual pathways walked during ceremonies to connect with celestial deities. Others propose a more practical function, a massive agricultural calendar where specific glyphs marked seasonal changes critical for planting and harvest. Then there's the most radical theory that the lines formed part of an ancient communication system. Certain glyphs align with underground water sources, while others point to distant mountains or oases. Could these have been markers for trade routes or pilgrimage paths, visible only to those who knew how to read them? Even more intriguing are the straight lines that run for miles without deviation, intersecting at precise angles. When viewed from high altitude, some of these form perfect vectors leading to key locations across the Andes. Were they meant to guide something or someone? The most tantalizing clue comes from the desert itself. The Nazca Plateau is one of the driest places on Earth, with winds so still that the lines have remained untouched for millennia. This unusual microclimate suggests the site wasn't chosen at random. Some researchers believe the desert's flat, iron-rich surface was intentionally selected for its reflective properties, that when wet, the lines could have shone like mirrors, visible from great distances or even from above. Ancient legends speak of sky gods who communicated through light signals. Could the Nazca have been signaling to the heavens themselves? Standing amid these enigmatic lines, you're left with a haunting realization. We've spent decades studying them from the ground, from planes, even from satellites, yet the deeper we look, the more questions arise. The Nazca didn't just leave us drawings in the sand. They left a celestial cipher, a puzzle woven from earth and sky, waiting for the day we'd be ready to understand its true purpose. Stretching across the globe like invisible highways, lay lines weave between ancient temples, megaliths, and sacred sites with uncanny precision. These hypothetical energy pathways, first mapped by early 20th century archaeologists, connect Stonehenge to the Great Pyramid, Angkor to Machu Picchu, as if drawn by some cosmic cartographer. But what if these alignments aren't just coincidences? What if ancient builders deliberately positioned their monuments atop these conduits to tap into Earth's hidden pulse? Modern geomagnetic surveys reveal something startling. Many sacred sites sit atop geological fault lines, underground water veins, or concentrations of quartz-rich rock, natural features known to generate measurable energy fields. Take Avebury's stone circles in England, where compass needles spin erratically near certain megaliths, or the Temple of Apollo at Delphi, built directly over intersecting fault lines that emit ethylene gas, once believed to induce prophetic trances. These aren't random placements, they're strategic choices, suggesting a forgotten understanding of Earth's energetic anatomy. The science behind ley lines straddles the mystical and the measurable. Geophysicists have documented telluric currents, natural electrical flows coursing through the planet's crust that intensify at ley line intersections. Meanwhile, researchers like Dr. John Burke have found that many megalithic sites amplify electromagnetic activity during solar storms, as if designed as cosmic antennas. At Ireland's Hill of Tara, an ancient coronation site straddling multiple ley lines, ground-penetrating radar has revealed subterranean chambers aligned with these energy pathways, their walls embedded with magnetite crystals. Were these chambers power nodes in a vast prehistoric grid? Local traditions add another layer to the mystery. Australian Aboriginal songlines, Native American spirit paths, and Chinese dragon lines all describe networks of sacred energy mirroring ley alignments. The Hopi speak of their ancestors following energy trails marked by vibrating stones to find water in the desert. In Peru, shamans still perform rituals at huacas, energy hotspots along ley lines they call sex, where the Earth's breath is said to be strongest. These aren't isolated myths, they're fragments of a global oral map, hinting at a shared ancient science of geomancy. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from modern experiments. When teams have reconstructed stone circles using the same materials and alignments as ancient sites, they've detected unusual electromagnetic fluctuations at sunrise and sunset, the same times many cultures conducted rituals. At Karnak's megalithic Rose in France, researchers found that certain stones emit ultrasonic frequencies when struck, creating standing waves along the ley alignment. This isn't pseudoscience, it's physics, suggesting our ancestors might have engineered these sites as resonant chambers to interact with Earth's natural frequencies. The implications are profound. If ley lines are real energy conduits, they could explain why sacred spaces from Gothic cathedrals to Buddhist stupas share similar proportions and orientations, not just for aesthetics, but as harmonic tuning forks for terrestrial energy. Maybe the real purpose of these temples wasn't just to reach the heavens, but to harness the living pulse of the planet beneath our feet. As we rediscover these invisible threads stitching our world together, we're not just uncovering ancient secrets, we're relearning how to listen to the Earth's quiet hum. The waters of Constantinople burned with an otherworldly fury in the year 673, when the Byzantine fleet unleashed history's most terrifying naval weapon, Greek fire. Imagine the terror of enemy sailors as jets of liquid flame erupted from bronze tubes, clinging to ships and skin alike, impossible to extinguish even when doused with water. Some accounts claim it could burn on the ocean's surface, defying nature itself. For 7 centuries, this fearsome substance secured the empire's dominance, its formula so closely guarded that even today, modern chemists can't fully replicate its properties. But the real mystery isn't just what it was made of, it's how a civilization without modern laboratories concocted such an advanced chemical weapon in the first place. Surviving descriptions from Byzantine texts paint a chilling picture. Greek fire wasn't just ordinary napalm, it reportedly ignited spontaneously, roared louder than thunder, and produced thick, choking smoke. Most eerily, water seemed to intensify its flames, suggesting ingredients that reacted violently with moisture. Researchers have proposed everything from quicklime to petroleum distillates as potential components, but none fully match the historical accounts. The closest modern equivalent, a mixture of crude oil and pine resin, still lacks the original's legendary persistence and adhesive qualities. What's striking is the precision required to stabilize such a volatile compound. Too much of one ingredient and it might explode prematurely, too little and it would fizzle out. The Byzantines didn't just stumble upon this recipe, they perfected it through rigorous experimentation, hinting at a sophisticated understanding of chemical reactions long before the birth of modern chemistry. The delivery system was equally ingenious. Byzantine ships mounted bronze siphons equipped with pressurized pumps, allowing crews to spray Greek fire in continuous streams, a terrifying innovation resembling modern flamethrowers. These weren't crude contraptions, they were precision instruments with adjustable nozzles and safety mechanisms to prevent catastrophic misfires. Some historians believe the Byzantines even developed a form of early air compression to propel the flames farther, a technology that wouldn't reappear in Europe for another 1,000 years. The secrecy surrounding these devices bordered on obsession. Only two families, the imperial dynasty and the chemists who manufactured the substance, were entrusted with the knowledge. A ND Chinese letter, its formula was punishable by death. Perhaps the most baffling aspect is how this technology vanished. When Constantinople fell in 1453, the secret died with its last guardians. Some speculate the formula was deliberately destroyed to prevent its misuse, while others believe it was encoded in obscure manuscripts still waiting to be discovered. Recent breakthroughs in archaeochemistry offer tantalizing clues. Residue analysis on 7th century naval artifacts has detected traces of calcium phosphide, a compound that reacts explosively with water. Could this have been the missing ingredient? The deeper we dig, the clearer it becomes. Greek fire wasn't just a weapon. It was a testament to a lost branch of ancient science, one that merged chemistry, engineering, and warfare in ways we're only beginning to comprehend. Standing on the shores of the Bosporus today, you can almost hear the echoes of those ancient flames, a reminder that some secrets of the past still burn bright in the shadows, daring us to uncover them. High on the mist-shrouded peaks of the Andes, Machu Picchu's stones don't just cling to the mountainside, they converse with the sun. At dawn on the winter solstice, a narrow beam of light slices through the citadel's eastern gate, striking a carefully placed ceremonial stone with pinpoint accuracy. This isn't poetic coincidence. It's celestial engineering so precise, modern astronomers have calculated the alignment requires knowledge of Earth's axial tilt down to the minute. But the real marvel isn't just one alignment, it's how every temple, window, and stairway in the city forms part of an intricate timekeeping system, transforming the entire mountaintop into a living calendar. Take the Intihuatana, the so-called hitching post of the sun. This carved granite pillar isn't just a ritual object, it's a sophisticated sundial. On the equinoxes, the stone casts no shadow at noon, marking the exact moment day and night stand in balance. Even more strikingly, its angles correspond to the sun's position during both solstices, allowing priests to predict seasonal changes with uncanny accuracy. Recent laser scans reveal microscopic grooves along its edges, possibly used to track lunar cycles or planetary movements. The deeper mystery, the stone's composition. Made of a unique quartz-rich granite, it may have served as more than just a shadow caster. Some researchers suggest it could concentrate solar energy, creating measurable temperature shifts that marked celestial events even on cloudy days, an ancient solar sensor. Then there's the Temple of the Sun, where a trapezoidal window frames the rising sun during the June solstice, illuminating a ceremonial niche in a burst of golden light. But the true genius lies in what happens next. As the sun climbs, the beam slides across the room, aligning perfectly with a hidden notch in the opposite wall exactly 6 hours later. This isn't just marking noon, it's dividing the day into precise intervals, a feat requiring advanced understanding of solar geometry. The The same temple's curved outer wall mirrors the sun's annual path across the horizon, a three-dimensional model of Earth's orbit carved in stone. How did the Inca achieve such precision without written records or metal tools? The answer might lie in their unique measurement system. Rather than rigid units, they used the human body and natural movements, the length of a pace, the angle of an outstretched arm, to create fluid, adaptable calculations. Their quipu, knotted string records, may have encoded astronomical data in their complex numeric patterns, but the most compelling clue comes from the landscape itself. The Inca didn't just build on mountains, they built with them. By using distant peaks as fixed markers, they could track the sun's shifting positions against the horizon with extraordinary accuracy, turning the entire Andes into an observatory. The haunting question remains, why devote such effort to timekeeping? For the Inca, astronomy wasn't abstract science, it was the rhythm of life. Their calendar dictated planting cycles, water management, and religious ceremonies with life or death precision in the harsh alpine environment. But some alignments go beyond practicality. Certain windows frame the Pleiades, whose heliacal rising marked the agricultural year, while others point to Venus's extreme position cycles spanning decades. This wasn't just a calendar for seasons, it was a cosmic clock measuring time in scales far beyond human lifespans. Standing among these stones, you realize Machu Picchu wasn't just a city. It was a cathedral to celestial order, where every wall whispered the universe's secrets to those who knew how to listen. The Inca didn't just track time, they wove it into the very fabric of their world, leaving behind a masterpiece that still marks the heavens' dance with silent, stone-carved precision. Ancient Sanskrit texts from India tell of soaring palaces and celestial chariots called Vimana's flying machines that could ascend vertically, travel vast distances, and even become invisible. The Mahabharata describes aerial battles with weapons eerily reminiscent of modern missiles, while the Vaimanika Shastra details intricate flight manuals complete with diagrams of multi-tiered craft powered by mysterious energy sources. These aren't vague legends, they're technical manuals that discuss mercury vortex engines, anti-gravity principles, and protective metallic alloys in terms that sound less like mythology and more like forgotten engineering. What makes these accounts so compelling are the startling parallels to modern aviation. The Samarangana Sutradhara describes Vimanas as having well-jointed and movable parts, with wheels filled with quicksilver, that produced a roaring sound when activated, details that align uncomfortably well with contemporary descriptions of gyroscopic stabilization and mercury-based propulsion experiments. Even more striking are the classifications of different Vimana types: the sun-shaped Surya Vimana for long-distance travel, the egg-shaped Tripura Vimana capable of carrying hundreds, and the Sakuna Vimana with bird-like wings and retractable landing gear. These distinctions suggest a systematic understanding of aeronautics rather than poetic fancy. The real enigma lies in the power sources described. Ancient texts speak of Ratnamukha gems that absorbed solar energy, liquid mercury compounds called rasa that generated lift when electrified, and an enigmatic substance called Agnihotra that could neutralize gravity. Modern experiments with mercury-based ion propulsion and electromagnetic field manipulation reveal these concepts aren't entirely fantastical. NASA's own research into high-temperature superconductors and plasma-based propulsion echoes principles hinted at in these millennia-old manuals. Perhaps the most convincing evidence comes from outside India. The Babylonian epic of Etana describes a flying eagle chariot with identical mercury vortex technology, while pre-Columbian artifacts from Central America depict winged vehicles with exhaust plumes suspiciously similar to Vimana illustrations. Even Herodotus wrote of Ethiopian folding boats that could navigate the skies. These global parallels suggest either an astonishing coincidence or fragments of a shared technological legacy. Archaeological finds add fuel to the mystery. In 1875, British explorer James Churchward claimed to have discovered sunken Vimana wreckage in the Rajasthan desert, while pre-independence Indian archaeologists catalogued unusual metallic artifacts from Mohenjo-Daro that showed evidence of sudden, high-temperature melting, the kind of damage consistent with an energy weapon strike. Most telling are the ancient runway-like structures found at sites like Jodhpur and Ellora, their surfaces fused by extreme heat in patterns that defy natural geological explanations. The lingering question isn't whether ancient Indians had aircraft, it's how much they knew, and why that knowledge vanished. Some scholars suggest Vimana texts preserve memories of Harappan-era technology lost to climate catastrophe, while others propose these were speculative designs influenced by observations of natural phenomena like ball lightning. But standing before the intricate Vimana carvings at the Hailbadu temples or reading the Samarangana Sutradhara's precise instructions for pilot training, one thing becomes clear: our ancestors were either the greatest imaginative minds in history, or they knew something about flight that we're still struggling to rediscover. Deep in the vaults of museums and private collections, a handful of crystal skulls stare blankly into the modern world, their smooth, polished surfaces defying the tools and timelines of known history. Carved from solid blocks of quartz, these eerie artifacts are so perfectly shaped that even under high-powered microscopes, modern lapidaries struggle to explain how ancient artisans achieved such precision without metal tools. The most famous, the Mitchell-Hedges skull, was allegedly discovered in the 1920s beneath a Mayan altar in Belize. Its jawbone moves independently, and its eye sockets refract light in ways that suggest they were engineered, not just carved. What makes these skulls truly baffling is the material itself. Quartz ranks 7 on the Mohs hardness scale, harder than steel, yet the skulls show no signs of tool marks or grinding. Modern gem cutters estimate that replicating one with traditional methods would require over 300 years of continuous polishing. Even more perplexing, some skulls exhibit optical properties that shouldn't exist in hand-carved objects. When light passes through the Mitchell-Hedges skull's prism-like eye cavities, it projects holographic patterns that some researchers believe could have been used for data projection or healing rituals. The controversy deepens when you examine their alleged origins. While mainstream archaeology dismisses many skulls as 19th-century hoaxes, indigenous oral histories tell a different story. Tize Utujil Maya elders in Guatemala describe ancestral speaking stones that could store knowledge and transmit messages, tools given by sky teachers long before Spanish conquest. Similar legends appear across Mesoamerica, from the Aztec tales of Tezcatlipoca's smoking mirror to the Olmec myths of crystal divination. Could these stories preserve fragmented memories of a lost technology? Recent discoveries add fuel to the debate. In 2021, archaeologists excavating a Teotihuacan workshop uncovered quartz fragments with unusual striations, marks consistent with high-speed rotary tools. Nearby, they found traces of a plant-based paste that, when tested, was capable of polishing quartz to a mirror finish. This suggests the ancients might have possessed advanced lapidary techniques far beyond what historians presumed. Even more intriguing are the skull's acoustic properties. When struck gently, certain skulls emit resonant frequencies that match brainwave patterns associated with meditation or trance states. Was their purpose not just artistic but functional? The most radical theory comes from materials science. Some researchers propose the skulls weren't carved at all, that they might be examples of piezoelectric, grown crystals cultivated under specific electromagnetic conditions. Experiments with quartz crystallization in strong magnetic fields have produced structures with eerily similar internal lattice alignments. If ancient cultures understood how to manipulate crystal growth at this level, it would imply a grasp of nanoscale physics that rewrites our entire timeline of technological progress. Whether ancient relics or elaborate forgeries, the crystal skulls refuse to fit neatly into history's boxes. They stand as silent witnesses to a possibility that somewhere in humanity's shadowed past, crystal wasn't just decoration, but a medium for something far more profound. The real mystery isn't just how they were made, but why their makers invested such impossible skill into objects that seem to peer across millennia, waiting for us to unlock their secrets. The oracle chamber at Delphi wasn't just a room, it was an instrument. When the Pythia, ancient Greece's most revered oracle, sat atop her tripod and breathed in vapors rising from the earth, her cryptic prophecies echoed through the temple with an otherworldly resonance. Visitors swore her voice took on an eerie, multiplied quality, as if the stones themselves were speaking. Modern archaeologists have discovered why. The chamber was a masterpiece of acoustic engineering, its walls subtly curved to amplify specific frequencies while dampening others, creating an effect that blurred the line between the human and the divine. Recent studies reveal the chamber's limestone walls weren't chosen by accident. This particular stone absorbs low frequencies but reflects higher pitches, sharpening the sound of the Pythia's voice into a piercing clarity that carried through the temple. Even more striking is the chamber's shape, a parabolic curve that focused sound waves directly toward the listener, much like a modern satellite dish. But the real genius lies in the floor. Beneath the tripod, a narrow fissure in the bedrock channeled not just the famed intoxicating gases, but also subterranean resonances. When the Pythia spoke, her words merged with the Earth's natural vibrations, creating a disorienting auditory illusion. This wasn't unique to Delphi. Across the ancient world, oracles operated in spaces where sound behaved strangely. In Egypt's Temple of Hathor, priests whispered prayers into a hidden alcove, only for their voices to boom from the goddess's statue as if it were alive. The Mayans built whispering galleries at Chichen Itza where a murmur at one end could be heard clearly 100 feet away. And in Malta's Hypogeum, the so-called oracle room resonates at exactly 110 Hz, a frequency proven to shift brain activity into theta waves, the state associated with deep meditation and vivid hallucinations. The science behind these chambers suggests a deliberate fusion of architecture and neurology. Studies at Stanford University found that exposure to frequencies between 90 and 120 Hz suppresses the brain's language centers while activating areas linked to imagery and emotion. In other words, these spaces weren't just amplifying sound, they were engineering altered states of consciousness. Imagine standing in a dimly lit chamber, surrounded by chanting priests, while the very air vibrates at a pitch that dissolves your sense of rationality, leaving you hyper-suggestible. Is it any wonder visitors left convinced they'd heard the gods? Yet the most tantalizing question isn't how these chambers worked, but who designed them. The precision required to shape stone for specific acoustic effects implies an understanding of sound physics that predates formal science by millennia. Some researchers point to the Pythagorean discovery of harmonic ratios 2,500 years ago as evidence of earlier, lost knowledge. Others suggest these techniques were refined through trial and error over generations, with master builders passing down secrets of resonant geometry. One clue might lie in the materials. Many oracle chambers incorporate materials with unusual sonic properties: volcanic rock rich in magnetite, quartz-laced granite, or even thin sheets of gold sandwiched between stones, a technique known to enhance acoustic reflection. At Dodona, Greece's oldest oracle site, priests interpreted the rustling of bronze leaves hanging from ancient oaks. Recent experiments show these metal plates would have produced infrasound frequencies too low for human ears to hear, but capable of inducing unease or awe. The legacy of these sound temples lingers in unexpected places. Modern concert halls use similar parabolic designs to distribute sound evenly, while ultrasound therapy employs the same frequencies ancient priests might have harnessed for healing. Standing in the ruins of Delphi or Malta's Hypogeum, you're left with a haunting realization. These weren't just places to hear the gods. They were machines for listening to the human mind, crafted by masters who understood that the right frequency could open doors to worlds beyond sight and touch. The stones still remember their secrets if we're willing to listen closely enough. Japan's pagodas stand as silent guardians against nature's fury, structures so resilient they've shrugged off earthquakes for over 1,000 years. While modern buildings crumble, these slender towers sway like reeds in the wind, their curved roofs and intricate joinery absorbing seismic shocks with almost supernatural grace. The secret lies not in rigid strength, but in a deliberate flexibility that ancient builders perfected through observation and intuition. At the heart of this engineering marvel is the Shinbashira, a central pillar that hangs like a pendulum from the pagoda's apex, barely touching the ground. When an earthquake strikes, the floors move independently around this floating spine, dissipating energy like a dancer adjusting to sudden shifts in rhythm. But the genius doesn't stop there. Traditional Japanese carpentry uses no nails or glue, just interlocking wooden joints that flex under pressure. The meiji, or sway joints, act as natural shock absorbers, allowing the structure to twist and bend without breaking. Even the eaves play a role. Their heavy tiles shift slightly during tremors, counterbalancing the building's movement like a tightrope walker's pole. Modern engineers have tested these principles in vibration labs, finding that pagodas can withstand forces exceeding 8 on the Richter scale, a feat unmatched by most contemporary high-rises. The real mystery is how this knowledge emerged centuries before seismology existed. Some scholars point to the pagoda's evolution from Indian stupas, which were designed to withstand monsoons. Others believe Japanese craftsmen studied the behavior of trees during quakes, replicating nature's resilience in timber. The 7th century Horyuji pagoda offers a clue. Its 5 stories represent the Buddhist elements, but their proportions also create a harmonic frequency that cancels out destructive vibrations, a concept now used in Taipei 101 tuned mass damper. Today, these ancient techniques are inspiring cutting-edge architecture. Skyscrapers from Tokyo to San Francisco incorporate versions of the Shinbashira principle, while carbon fiber, wooden joints mimic traditional joinery's flexibility. Even NASA has studied pagoda designs for lunar bases, where seismic activity differs from Earth's. Standing beneath a pagoda's swaying finial, you're not just looking at a relic of the past, you're witnessing a dialogue between ancient wisdom and future innovation, where the secrets of resilience were carved in wood long before they were written in equations. The fire that consumed the Library of Alexandria wasn't just the loss of scrolls. It was the collapse of an entire universe of knowledge. Imagine shelves stretching for miles, packed with over 500,000 papyrus texts detailing everything from Hipparchus's star catalogues to Heron's blueprints for steam engines. Among the ashes lay treatises on surgery from ancient India, Babylonian astronomical charts predicting eclipses centuries in advance, and possibly even maps of lands beyond the Pillars of Hercules. The real tragedy isn't just what burned in Alexandria, but how many other great repositories met similar fates, from the clay tablets of Nineveh's library to the silk-bound codices of China's Hanlin Academy. Each was a time capsule of human ingenuity, now reduced to fragments and footnotes. Consider the House of Wisdom in Baghdad, where scholars once gathered to translate Greek, Persian, and Indian texts into Arabic during the Islamic Golden Age. Its destruction by Mongol invaders in 1258 erased countless advancements in optics, chemistry, and mathematics, including works by Alhazen that wouldn't be rediscovered until the Renaissance. Or the Maya codices burned by Spanish missionaries in the 16th century, which may have contained the key to understanding their precise astronomical calculations. These weren't just books, they were the collective memory of civilizations, recording observations and inventions that took millennia to recreate. The most haunting losses are the ones we can barely imagine. The Library of Alexandria reportedly contained Aristotle's personal writings on physics, now known only through second-hand references. What revolutionary ideas might they have held? Even more tantalizing are the whispers of entire sciences that vanished without a trace. Ancient chronicles speak of Egyptian liquid light that could illuminate tombs for centuries, or the unbreakable glass formula Emperor Tiberius suppressed to protect the silver trade. The Roman architect Vitruvius mentions a lost method for constructing earthquake-proof buildings using flexible mortar, a technique modern engineers are still struggling to replicate. Yet fragments persist in unexpected places. When archaeologists deciphered the Antikythera mechanism, they realized Greek astronomers had built mechanical computers to predict celestial events. Medieval monks unknowingly preserved ancient chemistry in their alchemical manuscripts, while Arab scholars saved Aristotle's works from oblivion by translating them into Syriac. Even today, palimpsests' manuscripts scraped clean and reused are revealing lost texts through multispectral imaging like Archimedes' method of mechanical theorems hidden beneath a prayer book. The legacy of these libraries challenges our assumptions about historical progress. What we call discoveries might really be rediscoveries, echoes of knowledge that once flourished before being erased by war, dogma, or time. As we piece together these scattered clues, we're not just rebuilding lost archives, we're reclaiming chapters of the human story that were nearly deleted, reminding us that every age stands on the shoulders of giants, even when their voices have been silenced by the centuries. Today's scientists aren't just studying ancient ruins, they're conducting high-tech detective work, armed with tools our ancestors could never have imagined. Take LiDAR, for example. This laser scanning technology strips away dense jungle canopies to reveal lost cities hidden for centuries, like the vast Mayan metropolis uncovered beneath Guatemala's rainforest. Suddenly, we're seeing entire civilizations that history forgot, their street grids and irrigation systems preserved in eerie detail. But LiDAR isn't just mapping structures, it's exposing sophisticated hydrological networks and astronomical alignments invisible from the ground, proving these societies engineered their landscapes with mathematical precision. Meanwhile, quantum physicists are probing ancient sites for anomalies that defy conventional explanation. At Bosnia's controversial Pyramid of the Sun, researchers detected beams of electromagnetic energy shooting upward from the structure's apex, a phenomena that align with local legends of the pyramid as an energy transmitter. Similar studies at Egypt's Bent Pyramid revealed unexplained microwave radiation in its inner chambers, while German engineers discovered the Great Pyramid can focus electromagnetic waves into its subterranean rooms. These aren't just curiosities, they suggest ancient builders might have manipulated energy in ways we're only beginning to measure. Material scientists are equally stunned by discoveries in the lab. When researchers analyzed the famous Roman concrete used in the Pantheon, still intact after 2,000 years, they found it contains a rare mineral called aluminous tobamorite, which actually grows stronger over time as seawater reacts with its volcanic ash mixture. Modern concrete, by contrast, crumbles within decades. Even more baffling is the Damascus steel analysis revealing carbon nanotubes in its structure, a nanotechnology we only mastered in the 21st century. How did blacksmiths centuries ago achieve atomic-level precision without electron microscopes? Perhaps the most thrilling breakthroughs come from the intersection of archaeology and acoustics. Teams using 3D sound mapping at Malta's Hypogeum have recreated the temple's original resonance, proving its chambers were tuned to frequencies that alter brain activity. In Peru, archaeologists armed with ultrasonic scanners discovered that the Nazca lines aren't just surface drawings. They sit atop a labyrinth of underground tunnels that amplify certain vibrations, turning the entire desert into a massive sonic amplifier. These findings are rewriting history, suggesting ancient cultures didn't just build for visual grandeur, but for auditory experiences we're only now learning to hear. The real revolution, though, may be in how we interpret these discoveries. Artificial intelligence now deciphers fragmented texts and reconstructs lost languages at speeds impossible for human scholars. One AI recently uncovered hidden astronomical patterns in Babylonian cuneiform tablets, revealing they tracked Jupiter's movements using geometric calculus, a technique historians thought wasn't invented until 14th century Europe. Another algorithm analyzing medieval alchemical texts detected precise chemical formulas disguised as mystical poetry, including instructions for purifying metals that match modern electrochemical methods. As satellite spectroscopy identifies buried ruins and particle accelerators date artifacts with atomic precision, we're not just rediscovering lost sciences, we're glimpsing an alternative timeline of human innovation. Each technological leap brings us closer to answering the haunting question: were these ancient achievements merely brilliant anomalies or fragments of a far more advanced scientific tradition that once spanned the globe? The stones are finally speaking, and with every scan, algorithm, and quantum sensor, we're learning how to listen. The temples of forgotten civilizations stand as silent witnesses to knowledge that defies our modern timelines, not merely as monuments of faith, but as laboratories of lost science. Every carved glyph, every celestial alignment, every resonating chamber whispers a challenge to the conventional narrative of human progress. Consider this: while we credit Galileo with pioneering telescopic astronomy, the Mayans tracked Venus's cycles with a margin of error smaller than a single day without lenses. When we celebrate Newton's laws of motion, the builders of Sacsayhuaman were fitting multi-ton stones so precisely that a blade of grass can't slip between them, mastering inertia centuries before it had a name. These aren't coincidences, they're fingerprints of a sophistication we're only beginning to measure. The real revelation isn't just what these cultures knew, but how they might have known it. Take the precision of the Great Pyramid's dimensions, matching Earth's circumference at a scale of 1 to 43,200. Such accuracy implies a grasp of planetary geometry that shouldn't exist in the Bronze Age, unless their science emerged from a tradition far older than recorded history. Similarly, the acoustic properties of Malta's Hypogeum or the electromagnetic anomalies at Ollante Tambo suggest an empirical understanding of physics that wasn't just theoretical, but applied with startling intentionality. These weren't accidental discoveries, they were the fruits of rigorous experimentation, passed down through generations in stone instead of textbooks. What's thrilling is how much remains unexplored. Less than 20% of Egypt's underground labyrinths have been excavated. Vast sections of the Amazon conceal geometric earthworks, hinting at advanced hydrological engineering. Even well-studied sites like Gerbeckly Teep continue to yield surprises, with recent ground-penetrating radar revealing chambers deeper than previously imagined. With every technological leap from LiDAR revealing hidden cities to quantum sensors detecting energy fluctuations, we peel back another layer of this ancient puzzle. The implications are staggering. If civilizations millennia ago could map the stars, manipulate sound, and harness Earth's energies, what other breakthroughs might have been lost to time? Could their understanding of renewable energy, medicine, or even cosmology hold solutions to our modern crises? This isn't about rewriting history out of fascination. It's about expanding it with evidence. The walls of these temples aren't just stone, they're archives waiting to be decoded. As you watch this, researchers are analyzing newly discovered resonance patterns in Peruvian pyramids, or testing the piezoelectric properties of Andean temple stones. The conversation is evolving in real time, and each discovery invites us to reconsider what's possible. So where does this leave us at the threshold? The more we learn, the clearer it becomes that our ancestors were far more than primitive worshippers. They were scientists, engineers, and philosophers whose legacy has been buried not just by sand, but by our own assumptions. The next time you see an ancient temple, don't just admire its beauty, listen. Beneath the silence of centuries, there's a hum of knowledge, an invitation to look deeper, question harder, and rediscover the brilliance of those who came before us. The past isn't finished speaking. Are we ready to hear what it has to say? Drop your thoughts below and join us next time as we continue unraveling history's greatest mysteries. Don't forget to subscribe. The adventure is just